This is our little library area. This whole fourth space, that's what this is now, is the fourth space, is like our catch-all basement area, kind of like a hangout. We've got a lot of different things within this area. This little section is the library. We've got a lot of books. We're all bookworms in this family, and we had 4 bookshelves. We set them up like this. It got to be kind of a mess. We've got that dresser. That dresser was housing fitness equipment, and I think I had more books on the bookshelf on top of the dresser, but I since changed that so that all of my Skylanders were up there so that the kids can't grab at them, but also I collect them, and I have a lot of them, so I put those up on the dresser. So as I've been doing this decluttering, I went into my back room, and my back room was mostly a storage area, and what I'm trying to do with it now is make it like an office craft room. So I did a sweep through that area and found a ton more books. So we ended up getting 2 more bookshelves. I moved the dresser out, and we set up like an actual library area where we've got the pretty carpet down, and we've got a little table that can go in there. And that's what I'm trying to set up there. So there's still more books, and I haven't gotten them all yet, but I'm trying to pare down the ones we have. We had some doubles. We had a lot of them that the kids were interested once upon a time, but they're not anymore. Things that are out of date, like Ninja Turtle books. My kids aren't into that anymore. So things like that I've been trying to declutter from that space. And right now, as I'm sitting here, I've got a huge tote that I need to transfer into boxes so that I can get it to a donation place somewhere. So that area is done for practical purposes. I moved the dresser to the other side, which you can see in this clip here. That coat rack is blocking it, the exercise equipment. So what I was trying to do in this clip is get to that rug. I wanted to put that in my back room so that I could move my computer back there. My ultimate plan for this area, which we've decided to call the lower lounge. We don't actually call it that, but I said to my husband, I'm like, what can we call this space? Because we just keep calling it like the downstairs living room. And I wanted something, funkier than that. So we said we'd call it the lower lounge. And what my plan is for this space is I would really like to be able to come into this space to work out. I've got a treadmill, which I use, and then I've got an elliptical that folds up, and I'd like to use. And I have a Pilates machine that needs a bigger area, and it will fit, but it's long. So I'd like to be able to go down there and set that up without having to clean everything ahead of time. And then we have a TV down there. We put all of the video game stuff down there because we're a video game family too. And then the library, and there's a couch down there. And then if we have bad weather, we can go down there and kind of hang out there too. So it's kind of like a catch-all space. It's kind of like a downstairs living room. If it were to get really hot in the summer, I want to be able to go down there to hang out instead of being up in the heat. So that's my plan for this space, and I would really like it to be functional. If somebody wanted to go down and play video games, I don't have to say, well, you can't do that because everything's a mess down there, which is what I say now, and it sucks. So this is just sorting through some books right here in this clip. There's so many to go through, and I have such a hard time with it because we really like books. And then if I think about books that are seemingly special, I don't want to let those go. But at the same time, nobody's reading them. It's just a lot of those are National Geographic Kids magazines. I don't need to keep those. Now that it's been, let's see, this was space 4, so it would have been April. It's June now. And looking at this footage from 2 months ago, I can look at it and say, I don't need to keep those. So I'm probably going to do another sweep through this area and get rid of some more stuff. And I'm finding that while I'm decluttering, that's kind of the best approach for me, is to do a space and then let it sit for a while and then go back to it, which actually really helps when I'm doing these videos, because as I'm watching myself go through these things, trying to edit the videos, I have a different approach to it. Like, my space is more important than those National Geographic magazines that the kids don't care about. They're not interested in. They're not going to use them. If they want to learn about tigers, they can look it up on the internet or go to the library or pull up a YouTube video or whatever. They're not going to go downstairs to look for a National Geographic magazine. So I will do another pass through this area when I feel like I, have the mental space to do that. But I really love how this library turned out. I set up the whole top, which I'm going to film another little clip of that because it's set up a little more now that we have the extra bookshelves in there. But I told my husband too, I said, because he said, well, we'll just get more bookshelves. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. We have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 bookshelves. We really don't need more. We can pare down what we have because we're not reading them anyways. So, we can let some of them go. So through the rearranging and just basic decluttering of that section, I moved that dresser over and got all my Skylanders. I think I found all of them because, again, I did a sweep through like our little storage area and found so many of them. The kids are so excited to play, and I really want to get it all set up for them so that they can play. But everything's a mess in the middle now. So there's actually a couch under there. The space that I'm working on is stuff loaded up onto a couch, which is ridiculous. But it is what it is, and that's why we're working on it. A lot of this stuff is things like I pulled out of a different space, and I told the kids, take it downstairs and put it on the couch. And that has been the issue for a while. These letters on the floor, as soon as I had this space cleared the last time, my little son said, can I play with these? And he went down there and set them all up, and they played for a couple days with them, and then they just left them. And that happens every time I clear a space. They're like so excited to play in that new space. So then they pull everything out and they play in there, which is fine. I want them to play with things and I want them to utilize the spaces, but they don't like to pick them up. So that's annoying. So I'm just sorting through things here. I want to read you a clip from the book that I read. I'm going to go grab it. This book I read, it's called It's All Too Much. I mentioned it in that attic declutter video. If you guys watched that, you heard me kind of yak about this a little bit. It's by Peter Walsh. Thought it was a good book. It was worth a read. So this is kind of a long quote. I'll try to type it out and put it on the screen so you can read along with it. It says, clutter is insidious, a slow but steady tide. It enters your home little by little, usually over years. Clutter sucks life away. It leaves you depressed, overwhelmed, lacking motivation, and unable to breathe. Clutter prevents you from enjoying the most precious, intimate moments in life. Clutter robs you of far more than the space it occupies. It steals your life. I thought when I was reading that was really interesting, and that's exactly the feeling that I feel when I'm going through these spaces, just thinking about all this stuff that I've held on to for so many years. And we've moved several times, and I've just been carrying these things with me. And now that I'm in a different mindset, a lot of these things I look at and I'm like, why did I keep this? Why did I think this was so important that I should carry this from house to house, from move to move? Like literally, 20, some of this stuff is 20 years old. Like from when I was in high school, I have some things that I had in my bedroom when I lived with my parents in high school. And I'm like, did I really think, like at the time, let me tell you a story. I'm always telling stories. So when I was in high school, I think I was a senior, I painted my bedroom red. It was like, red is not a color that I strive for. I'm usually like anything but red. But for some reason, at that point in my life, I was jiving with red. And I painted my bedroom this like really bright red. And Then I had the ceiling white, and then I had all of these like Asian inspired decorations. I found these red and gold curtains. Actually, I think it was fabric and I made the curtains. And it just was like this whole vibe. You walked in, it was so like moody and red, and there was just these gold accents everywhere, and like, I don't know. I thought it was awesome. Okay. I still think that it was a very cool room. And if I found a picture of it, I'd be like, oh, look at my room. It was so cool. And my kids would go, oh, that is cool. And then they wouldn't care. But I found those curtains in that back room, and they're still back there. I didn't do anything with them yet. I really didn't declutter that back room. I just kind of did a pass through and got rid of some stuff, whatever. I'll talk about that in a future video. But I thought to myself, why did I keep these? I cannot see myself in this time in my life where I would ever do a room like that again. And if one of my kids decided to do a room like that, are they going to want my old red curtains? Are they going to be like, yeah, that's the vibe I'm going for? Or are they going to want whatever their vibe is that just happens to be red too? So for me to have held on to these since high school, it's like, why am I dragging these through life with me when in reality, I will probably never use them again? And if I did use them, it would be very intentionally just to use them. It would be like hanging them on a random wall just for like aesthetics, not as a curtain in my house, because I would never paint my walls red again. I would never go for that whole vibe again. It's just not where I'm at in life. And, I got to move on. So it's like, okay, I can see where, back then I was like, I want to keep these. That room was so cool. But through every place that I've lived, I'm married, I have 4 children, we've lived in multiple places, and I've never thought to myself, man, I really want to hang those red curtains. So why the heck am I keeping them? It doesn't even make sense to me. So I don't know if any of you guys feel like that, or you have that thing. I've got a lot of those things where it's like, I really thought that I would want to pull these out again and use them. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't want to use it. If you can see, maybe I'll put an arrow up, but there's a little, it's like a yellow thing hanging from the ceiling up in the corner. I've had that since high school too. That is Louie the Limber Pet. It was popular when I was in high school. No, maybe it was like middle school age, but we didn't have a middle school. So it was just like maybe 7th grade or something. And it's a marionette, and he's got 2 legs and a long tail and this really long neck. And he was like from Spencer's Gifts. If anybody remembers Spencer's, that's where I bought it. And I would like walk him around, and I thought he was cute and whatever. And I've had him forever. And I was so excited when I found him because I just think he's so funny. And then when my oldest daughter was a kid, she really liked it. She played with him all the time, and she wanted one. So she ended up with a white one. And I think his name was Willie or something. Willie the Limber Pet. I don't remember if it was even the same brand, but it's the same with the long neck and the 2 legs. But I was so excited to find that. And I was like, he's going to sit in my library. I love him, but I don't want the kids messing with it because it gets tangled up real easy. And the strings on it are pretty old. So I just don't want him to break. But I love him sitting up there. That's something that I'm happy that I carried with me through life, because now I get to enjoy him and he gets to be in my library, which is a space that I love. So I like that. But the red curtains, maybe it's time to let those go. I don't need those anymore. But yeah, definitely. Oh, what are we doing? Okay. Definitely, it's good to get away from the things for a while and then kind of come back to them and see what the point was. Do I actually care about this thing? Does it matter anymore? But that's my saga of the red curtains. But yeah, I really thought that book was interesting. It's called It's All Too Much by Peter Walsh. That whole quote was very feeling invoking for me. And it's so true. Like, things really do creep up. And then suddenly you look around and you're like, where did all this crap come from? I don't even know what the point of it is. This stupid piece of fitness equipment, every time I clean down here, kids jump on it and they're like, I love this thing, but they never use it any other time. And then it swings so far. It needs so much space to swing. I don't have the space for it. Plus, everybody jumps on it. Even my husband will get on there. I shouldn't say they jump on it, but they hop on there and they start doing the leg thing, and it's like a skiing machine. And they all are like, oh, this thing's cool. But when it comes to actually using it on a regular basis, it's a coat rack. That's all we use it for. We throw crap on it, whatever. We ended up putting that by the side of the road, and somebody came and picked it up. I was so happy about that. I hope they love it. It's out of my hair now, so that was great. And then, let's see, I put that little bookshelf next to that dresser. That's all cookbooks. And then I've got another one just like it. I really have to go through my cookbooks, which I thought I did, but I didn't do it enough because there's still 2 shelves full of cookbooks. I love them, but that's too much, Bob. So a lot of this stuff too, this was April. We had the community rummage that I've talked about a couple times. That was at the end of May. So all of this stuff I was getting ready to take there. And we had quite a few things that we took there. It was a whole van full. So I don't know how much it was, but it was an entire van full that we took there. And they were like, are you done with that cart? And I'm like, no, I actually have like 2 more loads to go, because we were using like a little wheelie cart to get it in there. And they just kept looking at me like I shouldn't have brought that much, but I thought that was the whole point. I don't know. They're having another one at the end of August, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just getting stuff ready so that I can take another big load there, because I think it's great. I think it's great. It stays in the community, and it's, a good thing to benefit this charity and the community. So, let's see, what are we doing now? Yeah, this is just a lot of sorting. It's a lot of like, ooh, what's in this tote and what's in this tote. And it wasn't all Halloween, which was nice. But a lot of it too is like paperwork. And the paperwork is really difficult for me because I'm a sentimental person, I guess, if you want to say it like that. And I keep every scrap of paper my kids ever colored on, which I know I shouldn't do, but I do. So now I'm stuck with it. But I've been trying to sort through everything, go through boxes. I've got mail from like 2013, like old check stubs from, I don't know, what was the oldest one I found so far? 2014 maybe, or 2012. Like, what do I need a check stub from 2012 for? That seems so ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I don't need that. I've been going through and getting things shredded and putting aside like the kids' artwork and stuff so I can get through that too. So I'm happy with the progress of everything. This space, I guess I started kind of late because I was having such an issue with the bathrooms. So if you watched my space number 3 was the bathrooms. And for that space, I kept saying, oh, this is going to be easy. So I put it off and put it off. And by the time I actually did it, I think it was still in March. But then I did it, and then April came, and I felt really overwhelmed with this area that I'm working in now. And so I was kind of like not putting it off, but I wasn't putting my full effort into it because there was so much that I was overwhelmed. And when I get so overwhelmed, I kind of just shut down and then I don't do anything. So this was probably the last 2 weeks of April that I really hunkered down and went through all this space. And we had to kind of bust butt to get it all done. And we didn't. There's still some things that I need to do in here, and I'm disappointed about that, but I had to move on. I needed to try to keep my schedule and go to the next area. Otherwise, I'm going to I don't know what the phrasing is, like psych myself out or, freak myself out and just sit in one area and like, oh, I have to finish that space and I can't move on till I finish that space. And then I'll never finish it. So I dropped it at the point of the end of April and I moved on to the next space, and I do need to revisit that and do some touch-up work and whatever. This TV stand matches the 2 shelves that I have that are right next to it. You can see them. And I've been wanting to bring this down here since we moved in. I kept these intentionally. I had them years ago and I wanted to keep them because I really thought the set looked nice. And I told my husband when we moved in here, I'm like, I'd like to set up a gaming area and have those shelves and that TV stand down here. And the TV stand we used upstairs for quite a long time. And then he mounted the TV to the wall. And then I was like, okay, I can have the TV stand. Well, then we didn't have space for it and everything's all junky. And then it became like a flat surface that we were setting things on in a different area. And I finally was like, nah, I'm done with this. So we brought it down here. I'm getting all the video game stuff I can set up on it. I found my Nintendo. I'm so excited. I bought it's a Nintendo, Super Nintendo combo console. And I bought it years ago. And I have all these like original Nintendo and Super Nintendo games. And I found it in the back storage room. And I was like, I have to get these set up. I'm so excited to play Nintendo. You know, I've got like the Mario games and I've got the old Flintstones games and Tiny Toons. Like, who remembers Tiny Toons? That game was so fun, but so dang hard. I could never pass Wacky World. So I don't know if you guys played this and you passed Wacky World, let me know because it was so hard. But I got all this set up. I don't have the cord for the Nintendo, so I still can't play it. I gotta figure out what it needs and order one on Amazon or hope I find it in the next 10 years. I don't know, but the kids are like, can we play on that? I'm like, I don't have any of the cords. Oh, I've got a Wii. My oldest daughter loved to play the Wii when she was little, and I know that my little daughter would love to play that too. So I'd really like to get that set up, but I don't have the cords for that either. Actually, now that I'm looking, there's a big pile of cords there. I wonder if any of those are the Wii cords. I'll have to go and look. So that is how that's going. But I thought it all looked really nice. And then we separated the cats' food and water because they kept splashing, or I think they were knocking the food into the water and it was getting like all mushy. So those are on separate sides now. That's been working really well. Okay, it's kind of loud down here. I just want to kind of update on the progress. So the library is still a hoard mess. I'm unsure about what to do with a lot of this stuff because we want to keep books, but we have way too many. These are clothes that I sorted out the other night. I think I did that off camera. Those I'm going to have my husband put up on the wall so that they're off the floor and out of the way, and then I can use them. This mess still needs to be sorted. I don't actually remember what's in that tote. I've got a ton of like framed pictures that I need to get put up. That thing, this coat hanger here, is going to get donated. This whole pile is donations. That shelf is like my workout gear that I need to go through. I moved the cat food and water. This is consoles. This is a gaming shelf. And I got to get that organized and make it function with this the way I need it. Those boxes are basically empty. I just got to go through them. I got to find a place to store the cat food and put the cat bed back up. This, I think I'm not counting as this space. These, I think this tote is completely full of picture frames. And this tote is things that I will utilize. And it's like a planter and just some stuff that needs to be put away. This tote is more gaming things. We have a problem, but I like it. That's pretty much all empties and stuff that needs to get taken out to the trash. That's literally trash pile. These, my son is cleaning these. And then I just have these 2 little spots left. I got food for donations. That's dog food. And then I don't know what's in those totes yet. Those are just my clothes I got to take up. I got this whole mess cleaned up because this whole thing was mounded up from when I did the pantry. And I cleaned up most of that the other night. And so that's looking real good. My son's been playing with the toys. We've kind of got a little bit of a mess going on. Oh, these.
So these were things that when I started working over there, I was like, I can't deal with these, so go shove them over there. And now I'm going to have to deal with them before I can call that space done. So that's fine. I'm aware of it. It's on my list. Those are all empty bags that need to get put away. Honestly, I don't think it's going too bad, but it is a ton of work. But once I get like this pile out and that pile out and all these boxes taken care of, this thing out, it'll be a nice kind of reset and it'll open up the space, and then I'll be able to like do another round, I guess. I don't know. But I really love this. It looks so nice. And there's a kitty. Phantom. Phantom.
This was kind of my last push in this area to get this clean. It was a little bit difficult to finish this area because we had all those boxes for donation. We had that exercise equipment there. There were things that were leaving this space, but we didn't have a temporary space to hold them. So it just kind of stayed a little junky. And that was another reason why I abandoned this project without like fully finishing it. But it is much better. I'm going to go down and get a clip of it now and just see how it's looking, because I went down there, but I didn't really take in the space. This space definitely needs another pass through. The clip will be up in a second, but it looks like I never did anything. My daughter's also decluttering and she put her couch out in this space. And then we swapped some furniture around in the living room, and the chair that we had upstairs also ended up in this space. And then there's some things that were on the freezer, and those ended up on the couch again. So this whole thing needs to be gone over again. It's probably going to have to be another whole space on its own. But whatever, it is what it is. I got a lot of things out. I'm pretty happy with the progress. So if you made it this far, drop me some, I don't know, the color red, something red in the comments for those red curtains that I was telling you about. I'll put some other videos up for you to watch on the screen here. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can come back and hang out with me again. Thanks for watching. Bye.